Afghanistan. For thousands of years, it has withstood foreign invasions, but there has been no end to tragedy and suffering in this country. Afghanistan has been mired in war for the most part of its modern history, and is still at war even at this moment, resulting in religious, political, national divides among the Afghan people. What is the path for humans, and what is the path intended by God? Here we have a man who came to plant soybeans in this treacherous land. Let's listen to this man's fascinating tale of hope. Afghanistan borders with the Middle East and Central and South Asia. In the past, many conquerors such as Persia, Alexander the Great, the Mongols, and the Mughal Empire invaded this regional transit hub. Afghanistan is still at war. From the wars with Britain from the 19th century to the 20th century to the Soviet-Afghan War in the 1980s, and now the final stretch of the war against the U.S., the first war of the 21st century. Conflicts and instability slashed the country per capita GDP to $615, and malnutrition killed 1 out of 4 children before they have reached the age of 5. In the early 2000s, Afghanistan had the world's highest malnutrition-induced death rate among women and children. Numerous NGOs came to the rescue, but it was not enough. Rather, the fear of terrorism drove them out of the country. There are only a few NGOs still on the ground in Afghanistan.
وقتی که در هر منطقه جنگ به وجود بیاید، مردم مجبور یا باید تلف شون یا ایست که از او منطقه کوچ میکنن و مهاجر میشن. وقتی که هجرت کردن، زمین، جایداد و اونمو امکاناتی که اونا روی زو کار میکردن و از او درآمد داشتن، او امکانات از دست میتن و در مرگ مهاجرت تا که کار درست و درآمد فامیل باید به دست بیارن، این وقتگیر است و مؤسسات که این مردم کمک میکنه کمک کافی به این مردم نمیرسه. از او خاطر است که اطفال اکثرا مصاب به سوء تغذیه میشه.
No goodwill can thrive in a land ridden with animosity and hatred. Moreover, independent and proud Afghan people who have fought against foreign intruders for centuries were not receptive to the assistance from the West. Rebels outside the cities grew in power each day, and Afghanistan seemed trapped in a crisis. Terrorism was devastating. Kabul, its capital city, day in and day out.
In 2001 and before that we have a fighting in Afghanistan. It is the cause of that a lot of intelligence of the world is involved in our country, and plus there are also some terrorist group which they are active in the country. These are the main causes that the war is continuing going on our country. The war affect the women, the children, and most of the people will be not educated. It will affect the economic.
Pasadena is an old town with warm traditional vibes. This is where we meet Dr. Kwan.
This gentleman?
Dr. Kwan is a Korean American with a PhD degree in nutrition science. As the head of NEI, an NGO he founded in 2003, he does not let his advanced age get in the way of his work. In 2003, he had to make a big decision. He visited Afghanistan with a sense of obligation as a nutritionist, but the horrific scenes he witnessed there left an indelible mark on his mind.
While I was working for Nestle Nutrition as the technical director of nutrition, I heard so many women and children are dying in Afghanistan. As a person who is making a living on nutrition expertise, I felt very burdened. When I visited Afghanistan in 2003, still there were fightings between small groups of militant groups, including Taliban. So when I first went there, I went to bed hearing a lot of gunshot sound. And when I went around the poor villages, and there was a city of Mazar-e Sharif, that reminded me of Korea after the Korean War.
His children were all grown up by then, and Dr. Kwan's wife was supportive of his decision. He retired from the company early and founded NEI in Pasadena to tackle Afghanistan's malnutrition issue. Dr. Kwan's family admires his sacrifice and passion and shares in his vision. His daughter studied regional development and public health and now works as the director of programs and operations at NEI.
So I remember a lot, he would work a full day at Nestle, and by full day I mean, 6 to 7 p.m. And then he would come home, he would eat for maybe 30 minutes, and then he would go right back to the office to start working on NEI. And so I just remembered his just relentless dedication and the amount of time and effort that he put into it without ever being paid. And he continued this kind of schedule.
Let's now go to Afghanistan. Much of Afghanistan's land is made up of tall mountains and dry and barren desert plains. Its population is scattered throughout the multiracial country. Recently, it's been embracing changes leading to new cities and residential communities like the Ain Mina. What Afghanistan needs right now is hope, safety zones, and food for everyone. Younger generations in the urban area intend to change the course of their country through voting. Afghans are a resilient and wise people. They want to bid farewell to the conflicts and despair of the past centuries. Meanwhile, outside the cities, 85% of the Afghans are still engaged in farming, and villages are formed in rugged nature. For irrigation, farmers rely on melted snow from atop the Hindu Kush mountain range. Kabul, the capital, is a conflict zone. Bombs targeting the broadcast stations and government buildings that we see on the news are nothing out of the ordinary here. Fortunately, Afghanistan is figuring out little by little how to change. Tomorrow will be different from today. That's the hope that the people hold on to.
Well, 2019 was a challenging year for Afghans and Afghanistan. It was full of incident. We had presidential elections, we had parliamentary elections with its own challenges and problems. Even the Taliban warned Afghan people not to participate in a presidential and parliamentary election, but the people decided to involve and to participate in both elections, as we were witness. And peace process, we had enough promotion as the Taliban and the United States representative sat together more than 7 times in Qatar. So it was a good year, 2019. If we compare with 2018, it was a very bloody year, 2018. But 2019, from perspective in terms of security, it was enough good because we had passed 2 elections, parliamentary election and presidential elections.
Kwan province is located just north of Kabul. It is a relatively safe area, home to farmers who have defended their hometown for a long time. Dr. Kwan managed to persuade the proud farmers of Parwan to plant soybeans, and soon they saw for themselves that soybeans are a crop suitable for the Afghan climate and soil.
Can you translate?
Dr. Kwan is spreading the word about soybeans by meeting with self-employed farmers in person. He goes around Afghanistan to hold training sessions on how to grow soybeans and to distribute seeds and fertilizers for free.
And our agronomist asked them, why you want to grow soybean? I like to grow soybean for my children, so that they can grow healthy and strong.
So it's good you came to our village, so we request to send some farmers to Korea to see how people grow soybean and to know more about soybean.
Sure, when opportunity comes, we'll do that. This Haji Kyle can show you a better way how to grow soybean, but also going outside to see how others are doing.
Over 12,000 farmers join NEI's training programs every year. Thanks to NEI's continuous effort, 22 out of Afghanistan's 34 provinces are growing soybeans at present. This is an impressive achievement considering the areas under Taliban control. Afghan farmers growing soybeans are experiencing for themselves the health benefits of consuming this protein-rich food. They are greatly satisfied with soybean farming. Many of the farmers in Parwan have been growing soybeans for over 10 years with NEI's assistance. They help themselves to solve their problems.
نبات سویبین یک نبات نو پروتئینی است. وقتی که ما آشنایی با نبات پیدا کردیم که یک نبات پروتئینی است، به خاطر که طبقه دهقان یک طبقه فقیر هستند، غریب هستند، دسترسی به غذاهای پروتئینی ندارند، به او خاطر ما این نبات کشت کردیم که در خدمت تمام دهقانا قرار بگیره تا فامیلای دهقانی هم از پروتئین استفاده بکنند. تقریبا 14 سال شد که ما سویبین کشت میکنیم.
ما به خاطر که بسیار نبات قوی است، آیا از پروتئین است، به خاطر از این ما کشت کردیم. دیگه سویبین ما به خاطر از این کشتیم. خیلی مقوی است، غذای خوب است، 40% پروتئین داره، به خاطر کشت کردیم.
بیت کوتاه میتوام ما تخمم. آنیرو میته.
1,000 metric tons of soybean.
The recent buzzword among NGOs is sustainable development. But way back in the early 2000s, NEI was already engaged in a sustainable farming project in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I like to see his children who have been eating soy dishes like soy naan and soy korma, how healthy they are. But I like to also congratulate him to make his family members all very healthy and children not becoming sick.
Approximately 100,000 tons of protein is needed to alleviate malnutrition in Afghanistan. Soybeans are about 1/3 protein. So if their total production reaches 300,000 tons, NEI will achieve its initial goal. They are very close to reaching that target. NEI and Dr. Kwan's hard work for 17 years is paying off. The Afghan government's trust was a big factor in this equation. Since the Afghan government selected NEI's project as a state-funded one in 2005, it has given its full support and confidence. Ferazodin Faraz, a respected doctor and the public health minister of the Afghan government, explains what makes NEI's project different from existing NGO projects.
The difference that the that the NEI has been doing in Afghanistan is that really, this organization works with the communities, with the people, and promoting a self-sustaining programs in Afghanistan. Most of the time, we receive grants, money from development partners, which is a kind of giving fish. But the difference of NEI is that, help people, work people to understand how to catch fish. So this is the difference.
Kabul, the chaotic city, is home to NEI's Afghan branch. NEI plays many roles in Afghanistan. Education for women and youth in particular is one of its core missions. It aims to educate marginalized women and help them sell soy products to financially empower them. Currently, many female Afghan agronomists are working with NEI.
مرسل امانی هستم، مسئولی بخش خانم ها در دفتر NEI. ما در بخش های مختلف دفتر ما کار میکنه. یکی بیشتر فوکس ما در سر خانم ها می باشه. بالای خانم ها که ما در بخش های مختلف به خانم ها کار فعالیت داریم. از جمله کار فعالیت های ما بخش سواد آموزی به خانم ها می باشه که در 34 ولایت افغانستان ما کار فعالیت خود پیش بردیم. اما در بخش حرفه، صنعت و دیگه فعالیت ما در بخش تساوی جنسیتی یا جندر است.
NEI's business that began with a single soybean now has an extensive portfolio, from supplying soy milk for free to food processing and distribution. Hard work by passionate employees has always paid dividends.
ما از 5 سال به این طرف که است با NEI کار میکنم و در این طول 5 سال ما با دساهات مختلف، حتی دساهاتی که تحت تهدید بلند امنیتی بوده، ما در آنجا فعالیت کردیم و کار کردیم و ما افتخار دارم که با این قسم یک سازمان که به مردم و به مردم غریب، خصوصا برای اطفال و برای مادرها که در جهت از بین بردن سوی تغذیه فعالیت دارند و ما همکاری میکنم و این یگانه راه و وقایه بهتر و ارزانتر است به خاطر از بین بردن سوی تغذیه در افغانستان.
Dr. Kwan dedicated himself to Afghanistan and Afghanistan only for 17 years. His long and steadfast effort eventually earned him the trust of Afghan people. They planted soybeans, which indeed proved to be a wonder crop that had the power to solve the malnutrition problem in their country.
بار اول وقتی ما در این مؤسسه آشنا شدیم و شنیدیم که تنها در بخش سویابین برای محو سوی تغذیه در افغانستان کار میکنه، برای ما یک چیز خیلی عجیب و غریب بودن. ما تو احساس میکردیم چون در فاکولته زراعت درس خونده بودیم که سوی تغذیه تنها با یک نبات شاید ممکن نباشه، ولی وقتی ما با مؤسسه NEI روبرو شدیم متوجه شدیم که سویابین چی خصوصیات خیلی عالی داره تا میتونیم ما مشکل سوی تغذیه را که ناشی از کمبود پروتئین است حل و فصل بکنیم.
Kapiza is a province to the east of Kabul. This small region has a high population density thanks to its mild and pleasant Mediterranean climate. The main industry here is also agriculture. At the height of soybean harvest, farmers are using a threshing machine to get green, well-ripe bean. Soybean farming turned out to be very rewarding for Kapiza's farmers. Also noteworthy besides its nutritional value is the crop's collateral economic benefit. As soybeans become a coveted commodity in the market, the farmers' incomes went up.
میخوریم ما اقتصادم فروشی هم میکنیم کمک از حال مجبوریم میفروشیم 100 روپیه میخرند 300 به ما بسیار مفید شده.
سابق در زندگی خوبی نبودیم و حالا هستیم چون که سویابین خیلی کشت خوبی است. یک زندگی داشته باشیم که زندگی خوبی باشد و پیسه دار باشیم یعنی تجارت کنیم و از تجارت ما یک چیزی به دست بیاوریم.
Farmers who made money from soybean farming brought in agricultural machines to further enhance productivity. Here in Kapiza, soybeans are much more than a source of nutrition. Afghan people enjoy a wide variety of food. They also developed a number of different soybean dishes. This is Maruf's table. He's the chairman of Kapiza's Soybean Farmers Association. The table is set with a variety of soybean dishes.
From soybean, we are very happy. Fortunately, most of the Pakistan people.
Soybean, which is the Afghan people's staple wheat bread with 10% soybean flour, has become a great source of protein.
مثلا ما سویابین ما در خانه ما نخت سویابین تیار داریم. از همین سویابین ببینید از نگاه اقتصادی ما اگر امی کوفته را اگر از گوشت جور میکردیم نه ما باید میرفتیم یک چارک گوشت میخریدیم یا 2 کیلو گوشت میخریدیم او را میآوردم اینجا کوفته درست میکردن. از نگاه پروتینش امو گوشت امو پروتین داره، سویای ما شما ما این شکل امو پروتین داره. یعنی ببینیم ما این وقتی که از این کباب درست میکنیم کمتر گد میکنیم به خاطر که این در چیز میبرن در داش میبرن و داشوالا مقدر مهارت دی پخت پزی سویابین نمی داشته باشن که او را خوب درست نگاه کرده بتان چون نانش دراز است استاد نمیشه.
There is no place that soybeans cannot reach now. What's left over after providing sufficient nutrition to the farmers is first sent to processing plants. NEI established a total of 11 soybean processing plants in Afghanistan. Soybeans processed here will be made into flour, biscuits, tofu, and soy milk and hit the market. This project was born out of hope that the processing and distribution of soybeans would rejuvenate the Afghan economy in general.
بعد از اینکه ریختانیم از اینجا انتقالش میکنیم به جایی که به سرد شود. بعد از مدت یک 20 دقیقه بعد از اینکه سرد شد از اینجا انتقالش میدیم به ماشین آرد سویابین. بعد از اینکه آرد شده از آرد به پروسس باز بسته‌بندی و پاکت بسته‌بندیشو میکنیم.
It is a constantly evolving and growing industry. The first batch of seeds that NEI brought into Afghanistan was provided by an American firm. Beginning from 2009, NEI came to offer even better seeds in partnership with the Korean government. Furthermore, they have created better quality seeds that grow well in Afghanistan. That was the outcome of working with Afghan agricultural research institutes and its Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock. Now Afghanistan produces its own soybean seeds.
تنها طی سال گذشته بیش از 2,400,000 کیلوگرم سویابین در کشور تولید شده است. انواع مختلف تخم بذری سویابین توسط وزارت زراعت در زونه‌های مختلف اقلیمی تست توافقی گردیده که در حال حاضر در حدود 7 نوع تخم بذری سویابین در زونه‌های مختلف اقلیمی زراعتی کشور تولید می‌گردد و افغانستان را از نظر تولید تخم بذری سویابین خودکفا ساخته و نیاز به تولید تخم سویابین از خارج کشور نمی‌باشد.
Once it purchased soybeans from local farmers and processed them into products, NEI developed distribution networks. Positive market response facilitated the distribution, and this in turn boosted soybean production across the country. Processing plants became a logistic hub. Recently, they've begun delivering soybeans, including soy milk, to the Afghan government. The 200,000-strong Afghan National Army has turned to soybeans as a source of protein.
ما طی سال 1398 سویابین مورد نیازی که بر سرباز ما به خاطر تقویه نیروی بشری و زیبا کار باشه داخل مینوی خود ساختیم. ما به نوبه خود اظهار سپاس میکنم و تعهد ما مبنی بر از اینکه در رشد اقتصاد کشور ما هم سهیم باشیم، بر علاوه که در دفاع از کشور قرار داریم، در قسمت نیرومند شدن تولیدات و رشد اقتصادی کشور خود سهیم شده باشیم، تمام تولیدات داخلی را ترجیح داریم و این هم یکی از بخشای هستند که ما خوشبختانه سویابین داخل مینوی خود ساختیم و بتانیم دهقان خود تشویق بکنیم، سکتور خصوصی خود به پای
Let's move to the province of Nangarhar, where Jalalabad is located, a city that was notorious for terrorist activities. On the way to Jalalabad, tanks on the side of the road are a reminder of the current situation in Afghanistan. But the devastation of war didn't abate the abundance of nature. There are people who want to start anew here. As in all places in the world, people here find pleasure in small things. NEI brought in soybeans to help them defend their lives, even in the conflict-torn area. Fazullah, a young soybean farmer in Nangarhar, he's found happiness in the little things in life.
په ډډه ایخ په ځمکه ایښې اړه وراړه وي بعد د 5 ورځو به میده کوو چې میده م کړی نه بعد به موږ له د حاصل په لاس راځي لکه لوبیا په شکل پخیږي سره کیږي شوروا پخیږي نور ډوډۍ ته جوړیږي کلچې نور شی نه ماسته شوده شړومبي.
The Taliban are raging all across the country, particularly the rural areas. However, NEI's sincere approach to address the issue of malnutrition in Afghanistan planted trust even in the Taliban.
Taliban called our agronomist to explain about soybean, what it is and what's good for our people. And we explained to them very well about the older stunted children and malnourished women. They can be helped by eating protein, which is soybean. And that's why we have been working from 2003. And after evaluating our work, they said they would not stop our work. And then they even encouraged some farmers start growing soybean with us.
What the farmers gained from NEI was hope. Now they grow their own soybeans, feed their families with them, and sell them in the market. They come up with their own recipes as well. Thanks to their extensive research and endeavors, soybeans are now a common ingredient in the Afghan diet. Soybeans, growing ripe in the fields, symbolize peace for these people who shut themselves off due to protracted animosity.
Korea has experienced extreme poverty and also constant security threats. And Korean people were able to overcome all those difficulties and finally achieve both economic development and political democracy. We really worked hard, and also we invested heavily on education too. But if it had not been for the assistance from the international community, we would not have been able to achieve this bright success. That's why Korea is committed to help out people in the world. It's our turn to pay back what we had received from the international community.
Los Angeles, California. With its mild climate, its iconic cosmopolitan city that symbolizes the culture and economic abundance of the U.S. West Coast. There were already more than enough relief organizations in Afghanistan in the early 2000s. Afghan people's malnutrition, though, remained without a solution. Dr. Kwan needed an idea that was different from the existing food supply plans devised by NGOs. As a food and nutrition scientist, he took note of soybeans. The main cause of malnutrition-induced death was protein deficiency. Then why not help the Afghan people grow and eat soybeans that are not only rich in protein, but are also affordable? That was NEI's mission.
Hello, Dr. Kwan.
Powerful acquaintance of his came on board. The idea had a great appeal since it came from a professional nutritionist who had mulled over the problem for a long time. With doctors, accountants, and food scientists on the team, NEI's foundation was growing solid.
Yeah, after I retired in 2009 from Nestle, I met Dr. Kwan for lunch. He explained to me about NEI and the mission, his mission in Afghanistan. And I was very, very fascinated with the work he was doing in helping malnourished people in Afghanistan, especially women and children. So I thought that was very, very good. And I asked him if I could also support, based on my background, anything he might be able to use, my support. And he said, of course, welcome. So I started working for NEI in May 2010. And I'm still volunteering right now too.
Well, clearly NEI is in Afghanistan to solve the malnutrition issues that are going on. And to the best of my understanding, it's one of two countries, if not the greatest country, that has malnutrition. And what really distinguished NEI and you, Stephen, from other foundations is the degree of simplicity, humility, and courage. And I would particularly focus on the humility, because from the very first time I met you, I had the feeling that you knew that you were the same as everybody else, and that your heart wanted to try to reach to the people that were suffering from malnutrition and do the maximum possibility that was available.
There was no soy, not even one soy plant in the country, and we're now producing several metric tons of soy every year. So we have built the foundation for a soy economy, which will have amazing impact on their well-being in the future.
Pasadena, where Dr. Kwan's family and NEI's U.S. headquarters are based, is regarded as one of the most desirable places to live in LA. The City Hall, with a beautiful Baroque-style dome, showcases the patina of this picturesque city. But what Pasadena truly takes pride in is its figures like Dr. Kwan.
I've had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Kwan, the president of NEI, for more than 7 years, and he's a blessing to the city of Pasadena. He's an honored citizen, well recognized, and more importantly, he's blessed to serve humanity. And that's one thing that we all honor Dr. Kwan about what he has done, not only in the city of Pasadena, but also in Afghanistan, improving human lives, mostly the children.
Iowa is America's breadbasket in the Midwest. Here, gently sloped plains fan out far and wide between the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. The state produces an enormous amount of crop. It is known for corn, but soybeans are another of its specialties. Some of the biggest soybean farms in America are located in Iowa. Yields are high, but soybeans are generally regarded as animal feed in the West.
So I asked them whether it's a beanie or not, and they said,
Iowa also has friends of NEI. Dr. Leroy Hansen is a nutritionist like Dr. Kwan. At the age of 90, he is still volunteering in Kenya. Dr. Hansen also came on board with his friend's mission.
slowly coming to me. Wait a minute.
When you think about solving a protein shortage in a country, there's really two primary ways of going at it. One is to produce milk protein, casein, which is the #1 quality protein available in the world. But that doesn't really make much sense in Afghanistan. That means you have to have dairy cows, you have to have milk processing plants, all kinds of technology. Soybeans is very close in terms of the protein quality because of the amino acid content of soybeans. And soybeans have about 40% protein, about 20% fat, and their oil, soybean oil. Normally they would extract the soybean oil and be left with the protein. But it's very important that it's processed properly so that the soy protein is very highly digestible and available.
Now there's a soybean industry.
Unlike the West, where soybeans are seen as animal feed, they are meant for human consumption in the traditional Asian culture. Soybeans are an ideal food ingredient as they are highly nutritious and rich in protein. Dr. Kwan of Korean heritage understood this from early on. Stein Seed Company is a leading American seed company that has been partnering with NEI for a long time. As an Iowa-based business, it owns giant soybean fields. There was no point in providing Afghanistan with soybeans in bushels. Their goal was to make the plants grow healthy and strong in Afghanistan, where no soybean seed has ever been sown, to eventually awash the barren land in green. That put an emphasis on the seed. It was Stein Seed Company that helped with the distribution of the seeds in the early days. The company picked soybean seeds that were nutritionally excellent as well as easy to grow and gave them to NEI, which were later planted in the Afghan soil.
We at Stein spend our time producing the best new possible varieties, and we're very pleased to work with people such as Stephen, who are taking these products into countries where families need them and farmers need them. We at Stein Seed make it our business to produce the very best varieties, highest yielding of soybeans that we can. And we want those to be utilized by anyone in the world, any farmers that want to increase their productivity, increase their economic situation, and particularly if at the same time we can increase the nutritional value of foods going into particularly mothers and children, but any families, we're happy to cooperate with that, regardless of the political background of the particular people involved.
Soybeans have a higher protein content than eggs or meat. Above all, production costs are low enough for even impoverished Afghan people to cover. There was another critical issue, though. Would soybeans suit Afghan people's palate? Thankfully, the locals were very happy with soy-based food. In order to use soybeans as a food ingredient, they had to be processed. NEI found a company that could provide the essential processing machines to Afghanistan.
See you. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Okay. Should we go in?
Thank you for...
Dr. Hansen and his daughter were immensely helpful on that front.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Okay. Should we go in?
Thank you for welcoming us. Yes.
Nutritionists working in every sector of the agricultural industries were NEI's true and staunch allies. In order to make bread, Afghan people's staple, soybeans needed to be milled into powder. There's also soy milk, which is even more nutritious and loved by the locals. The machines this company provides are still running busily in Afghanistan right at this moment.
So plant proteins are produced in very large volumes around the world, various oil seeds like soya and others. But there's a problem. In order for those to be well digested, they have to be processed properly. And so that's always been our focus from day one, is to have the equipment and processes that convert plant proteins in their raw form when they cannot be utilized as well, to going through our process to being highly digestible and providing a much higher feeding value for people.
Korea's beautiful island of Jeju has fully recovered from the scars of the Korean War. Also known as a world-class tourist destination, Jeju hosts many international events. At the Leadership Convention Center, Jeju, Global Leadership Camp is in progress. Organized by 4-H, a sizable youth organization with a long history, the Leadership Camp brings in young people from around the world. Many booths were set up to promote the educational environment by different countries, including Afghanistan. The booth was set up by NEI staff. Sonia Kwan also attended the event. NEI learned from 17 years of its experience that soybeans do way more than just address the issue of hunger. When soybean farming households sell the leftover soybeans in the market, their financial situation improves and the market distribution livens up. Households with financial buffers have the means to educate the female members of the family and children. NEI believes that education is the second most urgent issue for Afghanistan after hunger.
To be honest, it feels kind of weird to be holding this flag and walking down there because I'm not Afghan, but at the same time, I feel very honored to be here and to represent the people of Afghanistan, especially the Hazara people who look very, very Korean. So at least in that way, I feel a little better about stealing the spotlight from Dr. Ahmad.
As you see in the front, and the other one is Korean.
The representatives socialize with one another and look around the products made by talented young people.
And we discuss those.
There are also T-shirts and flags bearing 4-H's emblem, a 4-leaf clover. NEI educates young people on the agriculture and livestock industry. Not surprisingly, their exhibits are more related to crops. Soybeans, of course, take the center stage.
We are working with the youth in Afghanistan. Also, NEI has very good activities in Afghanistan. NEI is working in 30 provinces of Afghanistan. NEI established 11 soybean processing factories. We trained more than 125,000 farmers in the soybean cultivation and other agriculture-related activities. Also, we trained 3,450 youths in very different subjects. Also, we supported them in the field of agriculture, poultry, community developments. Also, we received a lot of women in the soybean food culture. Now they are using the soybean in their foods. Also, we work with the market to improve the soybean and extend the soybean, because the soybean is very full of protein products for Afghan people.
They are wearing new clothes. We have very good.
Afghanistan is still calling for more international cooperation. NEI started out with one crop and expanded into many fields, including nutrition, food processing, market development, education for women, and the Seed of Hope education project for youth. But they still need more international attention. Dr. Kim Ki-yong, who hosted this event, has been paying keen attention to NEI's youth education initiative.
Dr. Stephen Kwan's initiation, the starting for the planting soybean in Afghanistan, that is a very important and the right approach to solve their malnutrition problem. After that, we noticed that Dr. Stephen Kwan also started the Seed of Hope project, which is actually educate youth for their professional skill development. So that is a very important starting and the initiation for the future youth development in Afghanistan.
Beside its headquarters in California, NEI also operates a branch in Kabul, as well as in Seoul, the Korean capital. Seoul is living proof that a war-ravaged country can pick itself back up. It's hard to find traces of the war beneath the progress it has made. Hayground is home to many social ventures in Seoul. Dr. Kwan held a small seminar for social entrepreneurs there. He has been dividing his time among the U.S., Afghanistan, and Korea for this cause. The person who invited Dr. Kwan for this event is Lee Uy-han. Mr. E has been closely following NEI, which has been practicing the value of sustainability for 17 years. Mr. E witnessed the atrocious conditions in Afghanistan while working there as a correspondent for a newspaper company in 2005. He realized then the limitations of the assistance provided by NGOs.
국제개발이나 구호 이런 분야에서 전 세계 많은 정부기관과 글로벌 NGO들이 수많은 돈, 자원을 쏟아붓고 있지만 실제로 어떤 지역의 어떤 문제를 해결하는 데는 어려움을 겪고 있는 것을 저희가 오랜 세월 동안 봐오고 있습니다. NEI는 아프가니스탄이라는 한 지역에서 그 지역에 맞는 하나의 그런 사업, 콩이라는 하나의 사업 아이템을 가지고 15년 넘게 세계적으로 그리고 서두르지 않고 사업을 해오시기 때문에 좋은 성과가 있다고 생각하고요.
Those who want to help a country wrecked by conflicts must know exactly how to help it. They also need to be patient and sincere. Dr. Kwan knew that the soybean was a solution, and he worked relentlessly to help. That's where the key to his success lies.
Our motto was, even one more farmer we like to find so that that farmer can help save their family members by producing soybean with us. That motto was not just our motto, but also our local employees of Afghanistan. They went to many difficult villages. Sometimes shooting is happening, sometimes Taliban is stopping, but they didn't, all this kind of problem didn't stop our agronomists. Because of that village, many people are dying. I should go there to find one more farmer. That kind of a commitment to the people is very important.
Even at this moment, conflict and suffering are tearing Afghanistan. It would be the job of politics and politicians to ultimately end that suffering once and for all. However, we cannot sit idle till it happens. And 17 years ago, some people took the matter into their own hands and took action. Soybeans may be a tiny crop, but they hold an amazing potential. And that may hold the key to reconciliation we need in this complicated world with no easy answers.